This is Professor Simon at Baton Rouge Community College. And this week I did want to kind of go through what's going on with my course at BRCC, History 1113. I'll kind of talk about, the beginning of the semester. You should have already, looked at several announcements that I've got posted in Canvas on, my course and the syllabus. In right now, if you go to Canvas in the first few weeks, kind of show you right here, there should be different sections and modules for you to go ahead and look at. Right now, the top in modules, you can see the Welcome to History 1113 class. There should be a preview video for History 1113. So do check out that first announcement right here. If you have a question about the syllabus or the class, you can go to discussions right here and send me a message there. You can also email me as well. There's also should be announcement right here, preview about the course. It is previously recorded, but kind of gives you an idea of what my course looks like in Canvas. If you go down below, you can see right here, History 1123 course syllabus information and pre-test, but also the student contract policy page. So those are things that you need to kind of be working on right now with the class. Let's see, we got here. I know they had the Canvas announcement about this History 1113 course syllabus course right there. So do check that out. I do have a syllabus review if you want to look at, or let's say you just want to look at the preview video. It doesn't matter either one, but do take a look at that as well. I do have two announcements too about the completing the student contract policy page, and then also the pre-test as well. So both those need to be completed. Right now, I've got Friday, August 23rd. Probably will be extended, I know, a few days into probably week 2, but those both have to be completed. If you keep going down, I should have information about my YouTube channel. I do have, most of my lectures, videos on YouTube. I'll try to post some in Canvas as well, but I do have various links. You go to that announcement right there that are kind of important, and I've also embedded here in modules that you're going to need for the semester, like the main link to my YouTube channel, which is right there. I've also got channel playlists for my YouTube channel, various lectures and videos I'll have up during the semester. And also for these bonus projects you'll see later in the syllabus and in Canvas, you'll see the Veterans Oral History Project and also the Student Historical Documentary Project if you're interested in both those projects and completing them. Then let's see, for weeks 1 and 2, you're going to have several lectures to watch and assess in Canvas quizzes. I know for starting on Monday, August 19th, there'll be a prehistory lecture that I'll post in Canvas. There's the announcement about it and the PowerPoint that goes with it. There's like 2 different versions. I think I got the original lecture, and then I do have another version right here just with the PowerPoint lectures. But make sure to watch those lectures. And then if you have any comments, questions about the lectures, you can, of course, add comments, questions there in discussions. You do get bonus points for participating with that throughout the semester. There's the Canvas quiz number 1. I just talked about. There's the announcement I'll post in Canvas later, which will be on just the prehistory lecture. And that'll be posted, like I said, starting on Monday, August 19th. I probably won't be able to see it yet till later, but that'll be due by the end of August. That's about when the due date's going to be. If you keep going further down in modules, in weeks 1 and 2, I'm going to give you actually a set of second set of lectures to also go ahead and watch, which will be on the lectures on ancient Mesopotamia, the history of that, which for weeks 1 and 2 of the semester, there's the announcement about it, which goes into more of the civilizations that developed in kind of like now what's called modern Iraq today. And I do have the PowerPoint. There should be two PowerPoints, one for the part one, which part one is more on the early civilizations, like mostly Sumerian culture. And then the part two lectures more on the later civilizations, like the Babylonians and the Syrians, also as well. So you'll see different lectures on that. That's the part one lecture that I've got in YouTube. And I do have a part two lecture I've got also as well. And there's also a combined version too, which is parts 1 and 2 as well. So there's the Canvas quiz number 2, the announcement for it, and then the assignment, which that'll probably be due later. I know I've got Friday, August 30th, but that will probably be more extended later, closer to probably week 3. Then if you keep going down, well, you probably won't be able to see these yet, but eventually you'll see populate later in modules will be weeks 3 and 4, which mostly will be on the Phoenicians and Israelites, history of the Phoenicians and Israelites, which I'll have a lecture on the civilization of Phoenicia and the rise of the Carthaginians, which developed in North Africa. And I'll have that. And then I'll also have a lecture there's the part one lecture. I'll have a part two lecture on the history of the Israelites, like in the Bible, like the early history of the Jewish people. And that's going to be a part two lecture I'll have, which will be assessed on another Canvas quiz, number 3. So got different versions of the lecture. I think I've got them separate here, like a part 1 and a part 2 lecture on the Phoenicians and the Israelites, but there is a combined version of it as well right here. Then I do have comments, questions, like a discussion section for all these you'll see posted later in Canvas. Then, like I said, the Canvas quiz number 3, that'll be later announced. That probably won't be announced until I want to say after Labor Day. So probably third week of September is when that's going to be. Canvas quiz number 3. That'll be due more into closer to mid-September is when that'll be. I think at that same time later with this preview, we'll have a, like into week 3 and 4, I'll also have like an early history of Egypt lecture as well, which goes into like the background of ancient Egypt in like the Old Kingdom period when the Egyptians built like most of the great pyramids, like the Great Pyramid and all that. So there'll be a lecture on that. Will be posted close to when Tuesday, September 3rd. You see on that map, on that picture right there. But I think I've got 2 lectures on that. This goes into the early background of Egypt, like the background geography of Egypt, unification of Egypt under King Menes or Narmer. And I do kind of go into like some of the culture, of Egypt, like mythology of the gods. And I think I also kind of spend a little bit also on Egyptian mummification. And then I think more of the Old Kingdom part 2 lectures more into like the age of pyramids, like the construction of the pyramids and all of that. So there's a combined version of that too as well. But what's going to happen with those lectures, they won't really be assessed later until like I have a first exam, which that's more into like around closer to week 5. So that kind of gives you an idea of like, modules of what's happening with those sections that you see in Canvas. If you keep going down, I'll kind of do this today for also Canvas assignments that are out there, but you do have vocabulary assignments, you have to complete by the end of the semester, which they're usually called key terms assignments. There's 3 mandatory ones that you have to complete. first, second, and third key terms. And there's a final one, which is for extra credit only. So you don't have to do that one. But for the semester, you are one of the things you're going to have to do is you have to just randomly pick 30 terms per assignment. So you don't do all of them. Just pick if you want to do the first 30 or just pick whichever ones you want. Number them 1 through 30. The first three are worth 5 points each, so 150 points. And then you can see that they're not due until the end of the semester. So you have until like final exam week to turn it in by you see that date right there. But you turn it in early, like 4 finals, you can get plus 10%. So it'll be 15 bonus points. But make sure that you do cite whatever source you use. Just give me a list at the end of your paper about what source you use, even if it's an online, encyclopedia or whatever. You make sure to do that. I think for the final key terms, I'll just give you 10 bonus points instead. That's what it'll be. So you could make up to 40 bonus points. So then you have, like I said, the book report. I think I've talked about this before in other videos out there on my channel. But the book report, that's a mandatory assignment that you have to do. Just go ahead and send me, email me what book you want to read from the book list that's online in Canvas. Usually allow only 2 students per book. So make sure you let me know if there's a certain book you really want to read. Let me know ahead so you can get that book, or you have to pick something else for that particular assignment. But that assignment will be due later in kind of close to mid-November. But if you have a question about it or something like that, do let me know about that assignment. I do have a writing rubric, of course, listed right there. There's study guides. There's going to be different study guides you'll see throughout the semester. These are just study guides that you see that are more for just all the exams and the quizzes. So you will see, like, I think later in the semester, you'll have like exam study guides. Like I know for the first exam, it's going to be on ancient Egypt. It's going to be a specific study guide that you'll have. I think I'm going to require this year that students turn that in for actual points. And I'll kind of talk about it later how I'm going to do the exams this year, but it's going to be kind of broken up into like a written section and then the study guide section that you have to turn in as well. But I'll have those later for you if you to turn those in. But there's different study guides: first exam, second exam, final exam study guides that you'll have. And those are just for extra credit. And some of the actual exam study guides for specific exams, like say for Egypt or whatever, it's kind of taken out of that. But I think I added more questions to them or something like that. So those aren't due till the end of the semester. So you have to, looks like Friday, December 13th right there. If you have any questions about study guides throughout the semester, there is a discussion section that's in Canvas, by the way. Now, if anybody is interested in some voluntary bonus projects, I've got 2 that are big. I've got the Veterans Oral History Project. If you're interested in that, you can email me for that assignment. Like if you know a veteran or you're a veteran yourself, you can sign up for that project. It is worth up to 200 bonus points due at the end of the semester. So let me know if you're interested in that project. Do look over the oral history guidelines on how to do that project. There are examples of previous projects that have been done by BRCC students that interviewed veterans, etc., or they themselves were a veteran as well. It does have to either be an audio or a video interview. So it's got to be at least 10 minutes or longer with the interview. They don't have to necessarily be in a conflict or anything like that. They could be like in the Cold War or whatever it is. Maybe they were in Afghanistan or that kind of thing. But that's the project for that, for the Veterans Oral History Project, if you're interested in doing that. They also have this other project, which is also volunteer, worth plus 200, which is a student historical documentary project. So if you're interested in that, do let me know. It's like the dates are correct on there. I'll see. I'll fix that later. But that's not due till the end of the year course. But that one is a project where you would develop a short documentary on like a historical topic of some type that you're interested in doing it on. So do let me know what kind of topics that you might be interested in doing the project on. Just like kind of email me for ideas on that. So that's going to be another, like I said, example of a bonus project that you could make some extra points if you want to make up some grades during the semester. So I could pad your grade overall. Then I think there's like on the bottom in Canvas, if you want to look at it later, there is like an academic calendar. I think I put that in Canvas, and I do have a campus office hours, contact information, which a lot of this stuff is also in the syllabus as well. So that's kind of giving you an idea of what Canvas looks like right now. Like some of it probably needs to be revised sometimes, like dates or whatever. I'll kind of work on that later, but that's kind of giving you an idea of what Canvas is going to look like, at the beginning of the semester. So I'm going to have some stuff later you can't see yet, like week 3, week 4, week 5, that kind of thing. But I'll put this video up. I'll probably try to see if I can just put it up as a recording or something like that for you to kind of look at. So I'll try to make some other videos like this, preview videos throughout the semester to kind of keep you abreast of what's going on with the course. But I know right now I know for week 1 y'all need to turn in like the pre-test and the contract policy page and all that. But do let me know if you're interested in one of those bonus projects. And then don't forget the book report. You need to let me know what kind of book you want to read for the semester. So y'all take care, and I'll see y'all, of course, off and on throughout the semester. If you got a question about the course, do let me know via email, or you can also go to Canvas discussions also. So I'll see you later, and hope everybody has a great semester overall. So take care.